Hello everyone, this is Leah with Boost TOEFL. Today I will walk you through the email writing part of the new TOEFL test. Today's video is going to cover several things. First, we will take a look at the format and requirements of the email writing part. Then, I will teach you a very easy to learn and useful template which you can use in your writing to avoid some mistakes and save your time. Then, I will share with you some tips which you can follow to get a higher score. And with all these done, we will move on to the final part, where we will apply the template to a real test question so that you can get a better understanding of how to use the template. So now, let's get started. So first, let's take a look at the format and requirements of email writing. The time limit here is 7 minutes, which means you have to analyze the question, write and refine your own writing within a very short period of time. So remember to practice your typing. Okay? And then the email writing is all about composing an email based on the given scenario and requirements. So always analyze the questions carefully before start writing. And our aim here is to offer suggestions, sending invitations, solve problems, and more. What we have to write here depends on the specific requirements of the task. And here is a keynote. Pay close attention to email format and tone. These two are basic requirements of email writing. So always write a complete format and use polite tone in your writing. Okay? Now that we're familiar with the requirements, let's move on to the useful and interesting part, which is the template. Let's take a look at the template. As we can see, it is divided into 3 parts. First, the beginning or the opening part, then the body, and finally, the ending part. In the beginning part, always remember to greet the person you're writing to. We first say hi to them, and then we start with a polite sentence. Hope this email finds you well, or I hope you're well. This shows our politeness, which is the requirement of the task. And then move on to the body part. The requirements of the questions can mainly be divided into 4 types. You have to make a request, give suggestions, give detailed description, or express gratitude. So choose the type of sentences you will use according to the requirements. For example, if the task requires us to make a request, then we can use the sentence like, I was wondering if you could do something. And if the task requires us to give detailed information, then we can write like, the current situation is that, blah, blah, blah. So we don't have to write all 4 types of sentences in every writing task. We only choose the corresponding sentences that answers the question directly. Okay? And then when we're going to end the email, remember to end it with another polite sentence, like looking forward to your response. And always remember to write your name. Best regards, for example, Joey or Phoebe. The format and the politeness are very important in our scoring. All right? So now, before we move on to the practice, here are some tips you can follow. Always keep your tone polite and mild. And then keep the content relevant. We talked about this before. Choose the types of sentences according to the specific requirements of the test. Okay? And then add details to your writing. This is very important. We write relevant examples or details in our writing so that we can get a more satisfying score. Write briefly and clearly. Don't add too many structural sentences. Always answer the question carefully, clearly, and briefly. And then the last one, avoid informal words. As this is the writing task, we have to keep formal writing all the time. Okay? Now that we're familiar with the template and the tips, we're going to apply it to a real test question. Okay, so let's take a look at the question together. First, we have to pay special attention to the scenario because from here, we get to know who we are and what our tasks are. All right, so let's take a look at it together. You are a university student working on a group project for one of your classes. One of your group members, Jake, has not been contributing to the project and has missed several meetings. This is affecting the progress of the project, and you need to address the issue with them. So from here, we know that we're on the group project, and one of the members is not doing his work, so we have to write an email to him to solve the problem. All right, and then we move on to the most important part, which is the 3 specific tasks. Okay, every question have 3 tasks. And when we're analyzing them, we have to match them with the 4 types of sentences we talked about before. For example, the first one, describe the importance of the project. So we can see that it actually falls into the detailed description criteria, right? That means we can use sentences from here to describe the importance. And similarly, the second one, explain how his absence has affected the group's progress. So still, we have to describe the specific consequence or the influence, right? So we can still use the sentence from detailed description to answer task 2. And then move on to task 3. Suggest ways he can help the group. Okay, so very clear, we use sentences from the suggestion part. But here is a tip. When we are giving suggestions, sometimes we have to be super polite. So sometimes we can also use sentences from the request part. All right? Okay, so now we are familiar with the specific tasks, and you have to do the same kind of analysis whenever you are writing an email. All right? And finally, we must write as much as we can and in complete sentences. We know that we have 7 minutes to analyze and write the passage, right? So you must practice your speed and write as much as you can. Okay? So we are familiar with the tasks. Now let's try writing it together using the templates we learned about before. All right. So first, hi, Jake. And we choose a greeting. You can choose either one. All right. Maybe we can write like, hope this email finds you well here. And then we answer the tasks one by one. So first one, describe the importance of the project. And as we analyzed before, we use the sentences from here, right? So maybe we can write like, the reasons why I consider our group project truly crucial is that. And here we can write a specific reason why we think that is important. Okay, so maybe we can write like, the reason is that it accounts for 40% of our final grade. Okay, so we shall contribute together to get a good grade. Okay, so with this sentence, we actually answered the question number 1, which is the importance. And then we're going to describe the consequence. All right, so we can still use sentence from this column. Okay, so maybe we can write like, the current situation is that you have missed several meetings. and haven't shared your assigned part yet. And the consequence is, which means we are now fallen behind our original schedule. Okay, so we use the sentence from that part to describe the specific consequence of his absence. Okay, and now we are going to answer task number 3, which is to give suggestions. And we can give 1 or 2 suggestions to make our email sound really convincing and helpful. All right. So maybe we can start with this sentence. I was wondering if you could let us know when you will be available to catch up on your tasks. Okay, so this is suggestion number 1. That is, you tell us your available time so that we can talk about this issue together, right? And then we can give another suggestion. Like, I would recommend, or I would also recommend you join our next group meeting this Friday. So we can go over your part or your section together. Okay, so here we use the sentence structure to give 2 specific suggestions, which will make our email more detailed. All right, and here we've already answered all 3 of the tasks. You can end your email with the looking forward sentence, or you can write something to show your language ability. Okay, so we can also write something to Jake, like, I truly appreciate your effort. Because we don't want the membership to be end, and we still want to be friends after the group project. Okay, so we can write like, I truly appreciate your effort, and I know we can get this back on track if we work together. So this is to give confidence to Jake and to ourselves. All right. And here we can end our whole passage with the ending sentence, which is looking forward to your response. But remember here to write your own name. Okay, because we must pay attention to the format of the email. And when you finish writing, don't forget to check your answer and review it to see whether there is some spelling or grammatical problems. Okay, so let's go through it one more time. The reason I consider our group project truly crucial is that it accounts for 40% of our final grade. So we shall contribute together to get a good grade. The current situation is that you have missed several meetings and haven't shared your assigned part yet, which means we're now falling behind our original schedule. I was wondering if you could let us know when you will be available to catch up on your tasks. I would also recommend you join our next group meeting this Friday so we can go over your section together. I truly appreciate your effort, and I know we can get this back on track if we work together. Okay, so you can see that the review section is very important because we can see there are some typos. Okay, all right. And To get a better understanding and application of our template, we will go through another real test question to see whether you have truly understood our template. All right, but this time you can pause here, analyze the question and write by yourself first, and then check our answer to see whether you have had a good grasp of all the things we've taught about today. Okay, now let's analyze it together. First, still the scenario. Okay, so your friend Emma has recently moved to a new city and is feeling a bit overwhelmed. She has reached out to you for advice on how to adjust to her new environment and make new friends. You have lived in several cities before and you have experience with finding ways to settle into new places. Okay, so the basic scenario here is you're writing to help your friend Emma settle down in a new city, and you have to give suggestions. All right, and let's take a look at the 3 main tasks. Number 1, describe how you adjusted to a new city. So, which type does it fit? The detailed description, right? We still use sentences here to describe our ways. And second, give Emma suggestions on how she can make new friends. So we use sentences from the suggestion column. And number 3, offer different ways to help her if she needs more advice. Still, we are offering some ways or offering some suggestions, so we can still use sentences from here. All right, now that we're familiar with the tasks, let's still write together. Okay, first we start with the name. Hi, Emma. Hope this email finds you well. Okay, and then we're going to start writing. So before we dive into the specific ways of settling down into a city, we can start with some heartwarming sentences to show that we care as a friend. Okay, so maybe we can write like, I totally get. How overwhelming moving to a new city can be. Because I have been there too. Okay, so we show that we can empathize with Emma and show that we care. All right, and then we move on to describe our own ways. So we can use the sentence here. The reason why I consider joining local hobby classes so helpful is that maybe they let me meet new people. What kind of people? We can say new people who share my interests without forced or without the pressure of forced small talk. Okay, so we showed our care and also gave specific descriptions of our own ways. All right, and then we move on to give other suggestions. So we can use the sentence from here. I would suggest. So I would suggest maybe signing up for a weekend coffee meetup. Okay, or a carol hiking group. So this is our suggestion number 1. We advise Emma to get in some events or groups, okay? And also, we can say that it would be helpful if you could check out the community events at your local library. As they are usually free and full of friendly locals. Okay, so our suggestion number 2 is to check out some events and meet new people there. All right, so we've answered question number 2, which is to give suggestions. And then we move on to the final one, okay, which is to offer different ways. So pay attention to the word different. We have to come up with some new ways or new suggestions that are different from the things you wrote before. All right, so maybe we can say that if you need more help, I'm just a call or text away. This is actually something that a friend will often tell his or her friend to show that he truly cares. All right, so other ways is that I could also help you research local groups or events that might interest you. Just say the word. Okay, so our other ways of help is that I can search the groups for you instead of you doing it yourself. All right, and with all these sentences, we actually answered all 3 of the questions, and then we're going to end our email with a very polite sentence. Okay, so we can write like looking forward to your response or looking forward to hearing how it goes. Okay, and don't forget to write your name here. And also, we have one more step to do is to check and review. All right, so I totally get how overwhelming moving to a new city can be because I have been there too. The reason I consider joining local hobby classes so helpful is that they let me meet new people who share my interests without the pressure of forced small talk. I would suggest signing up for a weekend coffee meetup or a carol hiking group. It would be useful or helpful if you could check out the community events at your local library, as they are usually free and full of friendly locals. If you need more help, I'm just a call or text away. I could also help you research local groups or events that might interest you. Just say the word. All right, so this is a very complete and logical email. With the help of the template, you're going to write the same level of passage by yourself. All right? Okay, so we all know that practice makes perfect. So I will provide you one more question for you to practice. Remember to analyze first and write it carefully using the template. All right? So this is the end of today's video. If you find this video helpful, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more information about templates and skills for TOEFL writing. And if you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to leave a comment down in the comment area. Thank you for watching. See you next time.